I promise you that working on opening your hips consistently over time as a man will change your experience of life in unexpected ways. Okay, so my old friend Huey, shout out Huey, asked me for a hip opening class because he's a Muay Thai athlete and he's complaining about having stiff hips. And this is such a common issue with men. And I want to say it's not our fault. Women have a pelvis that is shaped differently to the male pelvis. And as a result, they have a baseline flexibility and mobility, especially in the hips, that men just don't have naturally. The good news is that you can train hip mobility and flexibility. And let me tell you this, guys, as a man who has been practicing yoga for quite a few years now, consistently, I can tell you that when you start to work on opening your hips and getting looser in the hips, becoming more open and flexible in this region, my life has changed ever since I started working on opening my hips. That might sound like an exaggeration, but I promise you, your life will change if you open up your hips as a guy. Now, a couple of important notes. You can follow along, by the way, follow along while I'm talking. So this is one of the main fundamental concepts in mobility. Maybe you have a focus, like you want to open your hips in today's example, but your body is a holistic system and you never want to lose balance. And what I mean by that is that you want to be stretching your whole body, okay? Not just one part of your body. Your entire body requires maintenance. That's what yoga is. You're maintaining your body. And it begins with the really, really simple basics, like just neck rolls, okay? This needs to be a daily part of your routine. You need to be showing love to the parts of your body that support you and carry you on a daily basis. And your neck carries your head, which houses your brain, which is where everything, all your decisions are made. So if you're not stretching your neck, you know, you're missing a key part of your mobility as a human being, which is being able to turn your head, you know? So follow along, please. Turn your neck, make a couple more circles, and then move to your shoulder joints. So pinch your shoulders back, and then raise your shoulders, and if you want, you can come to your tiptoes as well and squeeze your calf muscles. Bring your shoulders forwards in a circle, and then down, and then back. If you can't stay balanced on your tiptoes while doing this, just stay flat-footed on the mat, and make circles with your shoulders. And you can alternate the direction, and please breathe while you do this. Okay, shoulders back, up, forward, down, and change direction, shoulders forwards, up, back, down. Give yourself a little shake. It's a beautiful, beautiful, clear, sunny day in Glasgow, Scotland this morning, which is a rare gift. So, moment of gratitude for the sun. Okay, so yeah, neck, shoulders. I mean, you use your arms for everything, and especially if you're a martial arts practitioner, you know, your arms are where a lot of your tactics come from, even in grappling, you know, and you want healthy shoulders. I mean, that should be a non-negotiable part of mobility, especially as a martial arts practitioner, is strong shoulders and healthy shoulder joints, okay? And in order for your shoulder joints to remain healthy, you need to be showing them love and stretching them and giving them their full range of motion. Because it's use it or lose it. If you don't use your range of motion, you will lose it over time. And that can lead to higher risk of injury and just Why would you want that? Okay, so what I was doing at the start of this class, when I was talking and making hip circles, let's transition to that now. So you want your legs to be wide apart like so, feet out at 45 degrees. And for me, this is a fundamental of hip mobility. And, this is just one of the classic. This movement is a key in, let's say, developing or expanding your relationship as a man with your body and with your hips. And to pick up what I was saying earlier, your hip area is the hinge between two parts of your body. Your lower body, okay? Your lower body, which is what carries you and transports you through the world and in a fight, and your upper body, which is where all your vital organs are and where your head rests. And your hips are the hinge between those worlds. It's not to mention that you have your genitalia in that region. And so it's a very important region. And it needs to be taken care of. It needs to be open. And again, to pick up what I was saying earlier, let's make some circles with the knees. Slightly bend your legs and make circles with your knees like so, and then change direction. Keep breathing. So like I was saying earlier, as a guy, if you become stronger and more flexible and more open in your hips, so much changes for you. So much will change. I took some notes earlier. Your power comes from your hips. Every explosive movement, so sprinting, kicking, takedowns, jumping, all of those movements require capacity in your hips. So looser hips equal more range, more power, and more efficiency. Better hip mobility improves injury resistance, especially in the lower back, knees, groin, because you don't have other parts of your body that are overcompensating, such as your hip flexors. When you don't have flexible hips and your hip flexors are tight, that can lead to being injury prone or just tight in your lower back. Looser hips open your stance and improve your posture too, because you just have a more well-oiled hinge between your lower and upper body. And so your posture, even when you're walking, like this is something I promise you, since I've started becoming looser and more flexible in the hips, like even if I'm just walking, it feels so much more like fluid and smooth and loose, And if you ever want to learn to dance, man, having like loose hips, flexible hips that are healthy, healthy hip joints, you can really express yourself so much, and you can dance with a new level of elegance if you're working on your hips. And even simple things, you don't need to be really into dance, but just when you're out with friends and you just need like a really simple step, having kind of looser, more open hips really can give you an edge in looking good when you're moving your body. And forget dance, even walking, like I was saying a moment ago. Walking, like when you're running, you just have, and when you're sparring or drilling, practicing any form of martial art, you just have so much more comfort in your planes of motion as you move. Now let's come down into this deep squat position, which in yoga has a name, and that name is malasana, but that's not what's important. What's important is that this position, and you don't have to be pushing your knees out just yet. You can just kind of sit in this deep squat position and play around, and just get comfortable in it. This position where your feet are flat on the mat and you're just sitting, you're just in a deep squat. This position is one of the most important positions in any kind of mobility, yoga, functional training, daily practice. And it should be part of your daily practice. just this static, I mean, it's not quite static because you are kind of engaged when you're sitting in this position. Like, you can't really stay here for super long, or that's how I feel anyway. I just get tired. And if you're getting tired, you can come back and sit on your heels like so, which is also a very useful, not so much for the hips, but for the knee and ankle joints. This position is really good to be doing every day, even for a minute, 2 or 3 times throughout the day, you know, or 30 seconds. Just try to find yourself in this position more often. You can use a cushion underneath to make it more comfortable. But what I was saying before about malasana is this is one of the most powerful positions to be practicing daily. And again, you can sit here for 30 seconds throughout the day at various intervals, like 30 seconds in the morning, 30 seconds around the afternoon, 30 seconds in the evening. Like, just get accustomed to resting in this position as a habit, on a daily basis, okay? Because it just, in terms of your knee health joint, your knee joint health, your ankle joint health, your lower back health, and your hips, because you're sitting in a position that's opening your hips. And this is where the hip opening can get deeper, is press your elbows out into your knees like so, opening your hips up, and you'll press your palms together. Never forget to breathe. I'm talking a lot, so I'm not necessarily breathing like I normally would be, but you want to be breathing deeply and connecting to your breath, okay? Let's take a rest from that position. We can just come back up into a standing position for now. But that deep squat that I was talking about, it's where a lot of the magic happens over time when you're consistent with it in terms of opening your hips up. Just as a side note, and this is more of a dance thing than a yoga thing, but I've been learning and practicing this movement. You don't need to involve your arms if it doesn't feel intuitive to you. But what we're doing is standing with our legs wide apart like so. And it's kind of the same position we were in when we were just doing hip circles. And by the way, when you're doing those hip circles, try to really connect with how it feels in your hip joints when you're making, and you can be slow and deliberate with it too, you know, because you're building a connection to your body, you know, like a mind-body connection. I think it's called interoception. I think that's the like fancy word for it. But you know, the more you actually feel what's happening when you're doing these mobility exercises and stretches, the more you start to understand over time your relationship with your body and how it moves and where you can take it, how far you can push it. Because when you're training, that's what you're doing, is you're pushing your body to close to its limits sometimes. Anyway, so back to the what I was going to explain. Your legs are like so, and you're making kind of an infinity. This is infinity hips, okay? In dance, is you bring your right hip forward, but at a diagonal angle. So you're kind of painting a figure 8 with your hips, and you bring your hip forward and then back, and then to the other side forward and back. And then you just alternate this, drawing a figure 8 with your hips. So again, this is a dance thing, but it also works your spine. It opens your hips, and you know, it's a healthy movement to be doing. And you know, if you're practicing martial arts, it's basically a form of dance. I mean, you have rhythm, you have balance, you know, you have technique, you have footwork. It's a dance, and not just martial arts, you know, a lot of sports. So I really just encourage you to come back to this deep squat malasana position throughout the day on a daily basis. When you've been sitting for too long, when you've been standing for too long, it's just a great position to offset a lot of the sources of poor posture that that affect us in our life. So, okay, let's step back from hips for a little and come into cat-cow. So come into a tabletop position. I'm just trying to find the light here. Come into a tabletop position with your hands in a straight line directly underneath your shoulders. Now connect with your breath and breathe. And press your wrists, your palms, into the mat. And at your own pace, I want you to alternate between cow position, like so. Arch your back inwards, look up, push your shoulders away, down, away from your ears, press your palms into the mat, and then alternate with cat, where you arch your back and tuck your chin and breathe. And you can play around, just alternate between cat and cow at your own pace. Breathe deeply and really feel into the stretch. Arch your back. And when you're in cat, you can play around with angles. So you can kind of lean towards your right shoulder, lean towards your left shoulder, come back to your left hip, turn to your right hip, change direction and make circular motions. Coming forward onto your wrists and then back to sit on your heels. Changing direction at your own rhythm. And then come back into a neutral tabletop position and pinch your left shoulder to your left hip. And then pinch your right shoulder to your right hip. Keep breathing. And one more time to the left and to the right. And now tuck your toes. So if your feet were flat on the mat, tuck your toes and push yourself back onto your heels and then sit up on your heels. You can play around, lift your knee slightly off the mat or just keep it planted on the mat, whatever feels comfortable. From here, flatten your feet and come forwards. Bring your forehead down onto the mat into child's pose. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Hands flat on the mat. Play around by leaning towards your left shoulder, right shoulder. Just play around with what feels good. Keep your forehead planted on the mat and feel your shoulder. Try to stay active in your shoulders. So feel your shoulder joints stretching as you reach your fingertips forwards and your arms straight out above your head. Remember to breathe. Try to bring your pelvis back down towards your heels. So try to rest your glutes on your heels. Feel the stretch in your lower back. Breathe. Somebody's in trouble. Okay, now come up onto your knees, sitting on your feet. Support your torso with your hands. You want to just kind of like open those hips a little, arch your back, your neck, and then press your palms down into the mat and push yourself back into Malasana, deep squat position. And you can have a little play with your shoulders here. Just turn your shoulders inwards. Give yourself a little shake. Okay, so let's get back to hip opening. And to circle back around to something I was saying earlier, the reason we're not only doing hip opening stretches is because your entire body is, like I said before, a holistic system, and you're only as strong as your weakest link. You know, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. If there's a link that's not as strong as the others and you put that chain under tension, the chain's gonna snap at that link that's not as robust as the others. So your body is the same way, and especially if you're training, if physical activity is a big part of your life, you want to make sure that the entire system of your body can support you, as best as it can in the best possible way. And so you want to be stretching your whole body and developing mobility and a healthy range of motion in all your joints, with all your limbs. So with this hip opening position, you want your legs at 90-degree angles. If you can't keep your upper body up without supporting yourself on the mat, you can bring your back arm behind you and rest your palm down close to your glutes. And then what we want to do is, hinging at the hip joint, alternate between these two 90-90 positions. So you can support yourself on the mat like so, or if you already have been developing some flexibility in your hips, you can try kind of freestanding and just remember to breathe, alternate between these positions. And this is really powerful for strengthening and opening your hips. It's not the most pleasant mobility exercise, to be honest. I don't really like it that much, but I do it every day. And it's just good for you, especially if you want strong hips. So, okay, we're going to do a variation on that one that we just did. So now you want to bring if you were at 90-90, you want to bring your heel towards your glute and your other heel towards your inner thigh. So you kind of have two sort of 45-degree angle situations going on here with your legs. And what you want to do is drive your hips forwards and up, like so, and have a squeeze at the top, and then bring yourself back down. If you're struggling with strength or flexibility, you can just kind of slowly play with this with your hands on the mat and just ease yourself, guide yourself up, and only go as far as feels comfortable. Don't push yourself past any threshold of pain. This isn't a competition. This kind of thing is built over time. It doesn't happen overnight, so be patient with yourself. But you can switch sides and do the same thing again. Push your hips forwards. And then back down. Let's just do another one on each side. So switch. Push your hips forward, squeeze your glutes. You can put your hands on your hips to really feel, or drive from behind, drive them forwards. Give them an extra little stretch. Back down and switch sides. Okay, very good. Here's something I do every day for strong hips. It's called horse stance. So what you want to do is come up into this sort of, I guess, like, I don't know if it's a sumo stance. I mean, it's called horse stance. So you basically want to practice sitting in this position. What I do is I bring my arms out, palms together in front of my chest, and breathe, and try to balance my hips, and then push the feet through into the mat, come into this wide-legged stance. And then from here, an extra detail is to hinge at the hips and try to keep the legs straight. But if your hamstrings are tight, you can bend your legs slightly and only hinge forwards as far as feels comfortable. And I like to do this horse stance to wide-legged hip hinge 3 times every morning. And the first time, you're always going to feel a little bit stiff. So really just don't push yourself past what feels okay. Listen to your body. Right, so it's not the most flowy kind of yoga class, but I'm just running through some of the daily fundamentals that I rely on to maintain and improve my mobility, flexibility. Come into a seated position with your legs straight out in front of you, flat on the mat. Bring your palms on either side of your glute as close as possible. And then you want to flatten one foot on the mat, bending at the knee, and then the other. And then push your glutes towards your heels. Breathe. Just generally speaking, I was going to say remember to breathe and deepen your breath. So from here, you're going to push your glutes up into a reverse tabletop position and pinch your shoulders back. Pinch your shoulders back. Support yourself with your shoulders. Push your palms into the mat. Drive your hips up and breathe. Squeeze your glutes. Engage your lower back, your shoulders, and then slowly back down. Hips towards the mat, and then back towards your palms. Straighten your legs out in front of you. Breathe deep, inhale, bring your arms up in a straight line above your head, look up, and then hands towards your toes, or you can rest them on your shins if your hamstrings feel tight. Try to keep your back straight, breathe. Okay, good. Now come onto your knees. Sit back on your heels. And then flatten your feet. Bring your palms out on the mat flat behind yourself. And then push your hips up. Engage your glutes. Pinch your shoulders back. Engage your shoulders, your lower back. Breathe. Feel the stretch in your knees, in your spine. And slowly back down. And then come forwards. Rest your elbows, forearms on the mat. And you can rest your head on the mat and feel the stretch in your spine and your lower back. And from here, widen your knees outwards so you can keep your feet close together where they are, but open your hips basically. So open your knees so that they're pointing outwards as much as feels okay, as much as feels comfortable. Rest on your forearms. You can rest your forehead on the mat and breathe and just feel that stretch in your hip joints. So you're supporting yourself with your forearms and your forehead, and you're keeping your shoulders engaged, and you just want to feel that stretch in your hips. So this is kind of like a sort of a modified child's pose. Okay, now lift your forehead up from the mat, palms flat on the mat, and walk your palms back towards the inside of your thighs. Try to keep your back straight and try to open your chest. Breathe. Very good. I'm just gonna try something. Come back into a deep squat position, Malasana. Try to straighten your back. You can rest your elbows on your knees. Slav squat. There's a reason we do this position. It's good for your hips. We're going to go back into horse stance, because like I said before, I like to do this 3 times every morning. Sequence of horse stance. Whoop. Breathe. Open hips, strong legs, palms together in front of your chest, and then push your feet into the mat, through the mat, straighten your legs. Keep your legs wide where they are and hinge at the hips. Hinge forward. Unfortunately, I just lost a few minutes of the class because my phone memory ran out, so I just had to delete a bunch of files and pick up sort of where I left off, but I'll have to film another class because I just missed about 5-6 minutes of information there. However, something that is really an important part of my mobility routine and practice, and I really recommend this to you and to everyone, to anyone, is to hang from a bar on a regular basis, ideally a daily basis. I mean, you may have already heard of dead hangs, as they're called, and their benefits. If you haven't, it's easy to research. All I can say is that this, in my opinion, is one of the most important mobility practices to have, especially as an athletic person. But you know, just the grip strength and shoulder strength, shoulder joint health that you gain from practicing dead hangs regularly is really, it changes you. And I used to have recurring shoulder injuries, recurring issues with my with my shoulder joints. I had soreness and discomfort in my shoulder joint, particularly my right one, for years. And practicing dead hangs regularly, where you just hang from a bar and breathe, and you know, you're kind of engaged, and there's levels. You can like vary, you can like retract your shoulders and pinch your shoulders back and keep your lats and shoulders active if you want more of like a workout vibe, but just hanging like so in a kind of relaxed way really does wonders for the health of your shoulder joints. And you know, if you have healthier joints and a healthier body all around, you just everything, all of your performance improves. This is a little bonus. I think that's quite a lot of information for today. There's still more that I want to talk about, but I'll have to do more of these. But you know, people talk about yoga and people get into yoga and they use labels like yoga, but yoga is just anything that involves moving your body in an intentional way, with the promotion and maintenance of your body's health in mind. So dance is a form of yoga. You know, martial arts can be yoga. Yoga is just movement. It's just your connection to your body and its ability to move to its fullest potential. So anyway, the bonus, which is more of a dance thing than a yoga thing, but it's related to hips, is you want to bend slightly at the legs, relax your shoulders, but you can kind of keep your arms out, like so it doesn't really matter what you're doing with your arms because it's a dance thing, but you want to be keeping your torso straight and your shoulders in line, chin up slightly, and breathe, and bringing your hips to either side like so. It's just like, you know, sexy hips. So it's a dance thing, and you can just like get comfortable with this flow. You might feel silly at first, and that's okay. Like that's normal if you're not used to dancing. And I used to be a terrible dancer, and I used to feel so embarrassed about my dancing. But if you practice it, it's like anything else, you get better at it. So it might feel silly at first, but if you just for fun practice that in front of a mirror and get used to seeing yourself expressing, you know, movement and attitude and emotion through your hips, man, that's like free charisma right there. And instant sex appeal, you know, once you get fluid with your hips and confident and smooth and intentional about how you use your hips and how you move them, and you know, your level of comfort as well with your hips and what they can do. Work on it. It will change you as a person. And don't stop at the hips. Aim for fluidity in your entire body. Aim for connection to your entire self. And don't even stop at your body. Explore your mind, explore your emotions. Find a level of comfort in being vulnerable about how you feel, about your emotions, because you can have a huge impact on the people in your life through how you communicate your emotions. We all feel emotions. We're all human beings. It's not a gender thing. It doesn't make you feminine. Emotions are a human phenomenon. If you are human and not a psychopath, you feel emotions, and the way that you express them and the outlet that you give to your emotions can be healthy, or it can be toxic. It can be anything in between. Okay, there's levels. It's a skill. If you develop the skill of expressing your emotions and expressing yourself in a healthy way, watch your entire life change. Watch yourself relax around people, and as a result, watch other people relax around you. Watch how your communication skills will just blow people away. Develop that mindfulness. It's one of the best skills you could invest in. I fucking promise you that. Thank you for watching, and have a beautiful day.